Media attention in athletes. The mass media has always played a great role in impacting the lives and opinions of people all across the world. Sports news has grown so much in recent years that there is no doubt that sports coverage affects the way that fans, spectators, and other individuals view teams and individual athletes. The purpose of this content analysis study is to examine those effects and show the importance of the role that the media plays in the lives and performance of many different types of athletes who are affected by both positive and negative media attention. The overall theme focuses on examining numerous athletes and studying a variety of variables that affect what type of media attention the athletes receive. The variables include gender, level of play, age, and performance levels. While there has not been much work done in the study and research of sports media, not many have looked to examine the effects of the media on the athletes themselves. The prior work in this area falls into categories that look at the effect of the media on the views and opinions of spectators and fans, the effect of the media on the views and opinions of spectators and fans on different genders, races, or ethnic groups, the difference in media coverage in comparison of male and female athletes, and the difference in media coverage through different media outlets including newspapers, television, and more. While all of these different studies provide strong information on how sports and individual athletes are covered by different media outlets, in addition to how different types of fans and spectators are affected by different media coverage, all are missing one key element from their studies. They do not take the time to examine the effects that media coverage has on the athletes themselves and how they go about responding to media attention. Our project aimed to find out how the media attention affects collegiate, non-collegiate, non-professional, and professional athletes and their performance. The hypotheses we tested were the following: how media attention affects the athlete's performance, how does media coverage from different types of media outlets affect the athlete's performance, how male and female athletes are affected differently by media attention, and how athletes are affected differently by media attention depending on their own age. Each member of our group had to gather 25 different articles from the media outlets, including print, broadcast, or online. After gathering all of the data, each member had to code the articles, and each article was given a number for the coding sheet. Each group member had a different coding number to differentiate the coders. The categories coded were the same as the independent and dependent variables, which included medium, gender, age, type of media attention, level, and performance. The results revealed that there were very little connection between athletes and media attention, and 4 out of the 5 hypotheses supported the null hypothesis of no correlation. The one hypothesis that was supported our data was athletes' performance affects the media attention they receive. This makes sense because if an athlete has a string of terrible games, it is more likely he will receive very negative coverage, and the same proves true for an athlete who has received positive media attention because of their exceptional performance. Most of the data run appear to have connections between the variables when the variables were run together. However, when the variables were run separately in distribution graphs, the data showed that these connections, when run together, were in fact mere coincidence. For example, one hypothesis tested was how gender is affected differently by media attention. When the data was run with the male and female variables together, it showed that there is a probability of a connection in the data. It showed that females receive more positive attention from the media than males. When male and female athletes were analyzed separately, it showed that those numbers had no connection. The findings all supported the null hypothesis, which we found to be a good thing. It shows that athletes of any level or gender are not affected by what the media says. If a newspaper writes a bad article or ESPN bashes someone publicly, our data shows that it is very probable that these athletes will not be affected by the media. It was not particularly surprising to researchers that there was not a lot of negative attention given to athletes under the age of 18. It would appear unethical to a journalist to be overly critical to an athlete of this age. It was also not particularly surprising to researchers that there was no relationship between the type of media attention given to athletes based on the athlete's playing level, regardless if it was professional or non-professional. However, surprising to the researchers that there was a relationship between the type of media attention given to an athlete and how that type of media attention affected an athlete's performance. An additional surprise to researchers was the relationship between the type of media attention given to an athlete based on their gender. There was an overwhelming amount of positive attention given to female athletes, while male athletes were about evenly split of the type of media attention they were given. A finding found by the researchers was that the performance of an athlete affects the type of media attention given to an athlete. If the athlete was playing exceptionally well, the athlete was more likely to receive positive media attention. And additionally, if the athlete was playing poorly, the athlete was more likely to receive negative media attention. One strength of the study was that researchers made a point to examine athletes who had experienced well-known positive and negative media attention. An additional strength of the study would be that they covered a wide range of athletes from different sports and on different levels, in addition to taking into account the different ages and genders of the athletes. This shows strength in the variation among the sample size. Another strength of the study was strong intercoder reliability. A weakness of the study was the lack of variety in the type of media outlets that were examined. For example, researchers examined very few print and broadcast materials. Most of the materials examined were found online from internet news sources. Another weakness of the study was that it failed to take into account that other factors could have affected the athlete's performance. Therefore, the weakness lies in not being able to determine whether the media attention was the sole reason for an athlete's performance. The researchers would suggest to anyone wishing to do follow-up research to gather samples from print and broadcast materials to see if the medium has an effect on the variables measured. To undergo a task, it is recommended that with additional research to be done across a wider sample frame in regards to having a composite